from Hong Kong. And we actually printed a collection with it. It's a lot more detail about our print shop's background. We established in year 2000. It's the first open print shop run by artists in Hong Kong. And we registered as a charitable organization in year 2012. And you can find out more about us on Facebook, Instagram, and video channels for more videos and photos. Okay. So then, I'd like to also take this chance to thank Hong Kong Arts Development Council for the support of our 10 years of Hawaii IMC 2017. So today's demonstration is going to be live on Facebook, probably. Will be videotaped and then will be edited into a highlight, which will be shared on our Facebook later on as well. So Mr. Chung is a Hong Kong-based artist. He is very established as a calligrapher, a painter, and a printmaker, although he don't consider himself as a printmaker for working techniques on intaglio and woodblock printing.
Okay.
And today he is going to show you the water-based woodblock printing. Today's topic is the reverse method from calligraphy to woodblock printing. Why we came up with this idea or this name is because he is going to print a toolbox today, which you can see the outcome from that 2 rows over there. Actually, they are all written Chinese characters. He is a fan of Chinese calligraphy, and as you know, printing will create mirror image. When he was writing on woodblock, it's kind of difficult for him to write it in a mirror in order to print our color. So, because he thinks that the process of calligraphy is very important, it's a record of your emotion and expression in the strokes. So he enjoys writing it in a positive way and print it out in a positive way. That's why he came up with the idea today, how to print it differently from the traditional woodblock printing. Yes. So maybe you could come over here. We'll start with one of the block first. What Mr. Chung is using is pine wood here, and these are ink for Chinese painting.
Watercolor.
Watercolor.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the brushes made of wool. So for this color block, he actually wet it first before the demonstration, and he is now applying a layer of color on it.
哇，點答你喎？唔濃唔淡咁，要印嗰隻要有色嚟，想要唔可以太結，
Okay. So I was asking him about the
唔可以太結。
of the ink he's applying. He said it depends on your need, but it should not be too thick.
哦，一陣唔緊要，你
Oh,
印多次啫，好似。
So you have to test it out on the thickness that you need or you want. I will introduce one more time later on if more people are coming. So you start with one plate first. So Mr. Chung is working on the plate, which he will ink up another woodblock rather than the one he would like to print. So what you are going to see is the first layer of the roll over there, the red one, the first layer.
emboss.
The first step he made was that he embossed the Japanese rice paper from this press in order to make the relief. After he inked up another block, he put the characters in the box. So that he could keep the positive print of the Chinese characters. And also when you unfold the picture, you can get the trace of the print.
Will you say that again? When you unfold the paper, you get what?
The trace of the print.
Oh, okay. The seeping through.
The reverse of. Yeah, maybe I could introduce the whole demonstration one more time. Yeah. It's okay. So we are coming from Hong Kong Open Printshop. We are a printshop based in Hong Kong. We are established in the year 2000, and we registered as a charitable organization since year 2000. So Mr. Chen is our studio master, and he is a very established calligrapher, painter, and printmaker. Although he don't consider himself as a printmaker, he works on industrial and writing. So today he is going to demonstrate a method of print that he somehow because he enjoys Chinese calligraphy. And he treasures and values the process of calligraphy. As you know, Chinese calligraphy is a kind of selection of your expression and your emotions which you wish. So, and as you know, working on Woodblock, you will create the figures in the carpet. So, we thought, one is a way that I can enjoy the Chinese calligraphy and lettering, and then I can enjoy it as a printer at the same time. So how can I print the Chinese character properly? And therefore, he came up with this idea. And what he did was that he first embossed the woodblock, the carved woodblock, and the Japanese paper to create a relief on the Japanese paper first. And then he will ink up another woodblock, which is not the carved one. It's only for the color. So when you lay the colored woodblock on top of the paper and the carved block, the color will transfer onto the relief part of the block, so that when you unfold the paper, you will get the positive printed Chinese character, and then also the one created by relief printing, which is the mirror one. You would like to keep that trace as well. You can see that on the black and white roll over there. It's actually done with the same method. He unfolded the letter, so you can see the positive ones
Yes,
and
okay.
the negative ones at the same time. What he was working on was the first layer of the red one. So he is now working on the second layer of the red one. Yeah, you may come over here to see how he inked up the block. And then he will be traveling a lot later on this aisle, so please help. Yes, this is watercolor, and then this is the wool brush. Actually, the same when you're using to write Chinese calligraphy. And for the blocks, he actually get them wet before you came. So now he directly apply a layer of watercolor on it. So we were talking about the thickness of it. He said you can test it out to see what outcome you want, and in order to control the thickness of it. But better not to be too thick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
我可以問嘢，而家都。
So if you have any questions, feel free to ask anytime.
So he has
Boy.
already printed the characters in yellow with both the negative and the positive image.
And then he is going to apply the second layer as well. If you have a detailed look on that print, actually it has a subtle layer of yellow.
On the red.
Yes, yes.
So he's going to print again.
Yes, with the same woodblock. Yes. And as you know, this is watercolor. It actually have a kind of subtle wash with the water and the weaving of color, or how you blend together or separate.
So he doesn't have to register. Is he registering it?
Yes, you register. Yes, yes, yeah. this is the Japanese rice paper.
That's a beautiful calligraphy.
唔使嘅，中國字得㗎。
Is it called kasenshi?
Shan paper is also okay for Chinese calligraphy or ink wash painting. 中方係咪都可以即係試其他字都 OK？
軟性嘅字，即係好似宣字嗰啲軟性字，其他未。
You could try it on some sort of kind of paper, Shan paper.
No glue paper, so it has to be without glue or any agent.
No size.
No
No
glue.
sizing.
No size, yes.
Please put that down and I can do it. Right on top of it.
Yeah.
我嚟嘅，我嚟個。
可唔可以打開佢啊？
可以，有陣時我要埋底係嘛？
係咯。
誒，excuse me。
呢個係正面啊嘛。So this is the positive of the Chinese characters, and then when you unfold it, you get a negative one.
我有時要埋隔離嘅，睇住。
Ah, not negative, the mirror.
The
one,
mirror-
sorry.
mirror.
Yeah, the mirrors one. These variants on the moisture of the paper and the 張啊？
印冇啊，翻咗嚟先印呢張。
彩虹火。
好
Demonstration.
He is going to demonstrate another one. And then so Mr. Zhang will demonstrate second print, which is the black and white on. 你係咪出去表㗎呢個？
出去表啊？
自己表㗎。
我俾人表，我咁辛苦唔好做呢嘢，即係識表都唔做呢個。
Yes, this is his intention. And if you will have a closer look on it, you can see the white. Actually, it's white. Printed with a clear white. Sometimes he gets the mark, which he cannot expect. And yes, or the content of the removal, which is somewhat difficult to achieve, but we paper.
Paper dry.
Yes, yes, he didn't stamp the paper.
And it's printed dry.
Yes, the paper.
係啊，唔係呢度印木。
Board is dry as well. The only way to make up the extra woodblock and the color block, just that's the only thing he works on throughout the process.
Is it necessary to seal the woodblock that he's working on? Seal it with like a varnish or a clear coat or something? Or is it just raw wood?
No, he didn't apply a layer of varnish or anything on the woodblock because he is using watercolor. He need to use the density of the wood or the grain of the wood to somehow absorb the water or release it on the paper. So there is no varnish on top of it.
So he doesn't dampen
唔
the
係
block.
因為 watercolor varnish 咗黐唔到顏色。
Okay. So after, because varnish will drop the watercolor on woodblock, so it's hard to get the outcome that you want.
So he doesn't dampen the block first.
The colored block, yes, but not the top block. The top block and the paper are all dry.
But it inks.
Yes, the extra block is ink.
He inks the original block, doesn't he?
No, no, the original block is dry over there.
叫佢真人睇啊！
So he will demonstrate the second one so you can see the process one more time.
Excuse me.
So at first he will emboss the Japanese paper first.
呢個好似 Chinese paper 喎，冇關係㗎，冇關係嘅兩個。宣字就得㗎啦。
You can achieve the same result by using Chinese paper or Shan paper.
Excuse me.
No,
Just drove towards the black.
yeah.
So where did the black come from?
His original calligraphy.
Oh, he drew the black.
Yes, drew the Chinese character on the carved block. And he carved it away and just put it there.
So the black, it was already inked from before.
From his drawing.
Before, and then he
Yes.
let it dry, and then he carved.
The colors all comes from the extra block he's working on. So he applied the color he wants on the woodblock to ink up the plate. Yes, to ink up the paper actually on the second step.
而家係 set 架機，emboss 咗之後，
emboss 咗之後 set 架機。
係兩塊板咩？因為係
哦，喺呢一度 set 架機。
印細機咪。
Oh, okay. So the first print he was using the two presses for the two step. So he's now using the same press for embossing and printing as well. So now he is adjusting the pressure for the printing, because while you print, there is two woodblock at the same time. So he adjusts the pressure a little bit. He's not printing now. He just worked on the pressure. So now he will ink up the plate.
一陣間喺呢邊過嗰邊，即係呢邊過翻嗰邊啊！
He's now preparing printing.
So first on block, he draws the calligraphy character.
Yes.
Then he lets it dry and he carves out the
Yes.
characters. Then he inks it and prints it.
Yes.
No.
Ink up another plate and print. So that he could get the characters printed in a positive way, not a mirrored way.
And then he does an embossing.
First. Yes. Because as you can see, the ink block or the block for inking is totally flat. If you didn't create the embossing at the first place, the whole paper will be inked up without any characters on it. So when you created the embossing, the ink will be contacting with the relief part of the paper that created with the embossing.
So the pressure has to be just right.
Yes, yes. Or depends on the image that you want. Because it's a water-based color, maybe you add a lot more pressure, the water will spread or the wash will be different from the just right pressure, depending on what you need.
But the original color comes from the brush strokes, from drawing the brush.
而家睇
Not really. So you can see how he applied the color on the print in this step. So he is using the same wood block with the black and white image that you saw there, the Chinese character. But he is now applying a different layer of color to print. And he doesn't apply the color directly on the wood block. he uses a lot of paint.
Yeah, he
Yes.
really loads it. Loads it up. So it'll sink through. So it will sink through to the second layer.
Yes. This is actually the first layer. You can see the embossed paper over there. So this is going to be as one layer with gradation or gradient of the color.
So he's gonna leave the card block down there too, when he puts that one on top?
Yes, yes.
唔使戒啫。
This is the calligraphy.
Yeah,
Yes.
What's the meaning of the word?
呢個字呢個字母。
係。This is actually in English we have two meanings, which means nothing or emptiness. But in Chinese we have one character. I can show you.
唔係，唔使擠呢度。呢個發法係。哦，唔緊要。
This is the cursive style of this Chinese character.
How do you pronounce it? How do you pronounce the Chinese?
Print out the Chinese.
No, I mean, how do
我
you say
直接寫。
He directly wrote on the window.
No, no, no.
哦，咁木。
Mo in Cantonese, Wu in Mandarin. Emptiness or nothing in Japanese. Wu. Yes.
仲係幾個字？
仲有一個鐘。
I don't understand what embossing it first does.
Yes, embossing it first.
而家做
to make the relief or the the contour of the paper, because this block that with ink is completely flat. So you need the contour.
唔係啊，而家要做一定要 emboss， 而家印多張紅色嗰張，
of the plate.
印多張紅色，
Or otherwise,
咁
if
就
the
問下
paper-
爺，
the
咁已經夠
paper
咗
is
我係咪啊？
flat,
興
it
爺
will
Print the whole
yes,
file.
yes.
咁唔印紅色
So
喎。
he can't put too much pressure on it or it'll push it into
哦，
the
咁嗰個好快啫，印啲色。OK， 先印咗啲 double 先。
Or you can say the first step is very important for his method because the contour of the paint
Watercolor is OK。
did have some effect on the outcome of the paint. Yes, if the embossment is not deep enough, you get more mark
Okay.
on the side,
Oh,
like
yeah.
that one maybe.
Yeah. Okay. So depending on what effect you want.
Yes, and you can see this as a process of painting and a monoprint, a kind of monoprint, because it's really hard for you to control the subtle marks of the water and the paper and the woodblock.
No, the paper is dry.
Yes, paper is dry, the carved woodblock is dry. The only thing wet or ink is the colored block.
And if this is the color, this is yes.
會咪印多次，
Or normal watercolor.
It's oil.
仲有1小時啊！
Watercolor.
Watercolor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a woodblock, water. And for the woodblock, we didn't apply any varnish or anything
No
to
varnish,
block.
okay.
Yeah.
因為做多次 emboss 佢哋
好，而家印多次呢個色嚟，
係咪壓紙啊？而家
係
So you demonstrate one more time for the embossing. Yeah, the first step, the very important step for the whole process.
à, 叫埋入嚟嗰啲嚟睇啊，係咪有問啊？係啊，即係做。
咩話咁多？
唔係我啱人嚟咪叫埋嚟睇，而家重新開始啦，唔搞掂。
So welcome to our demonstration today. I see some new faces here. You may put your bags at the table at the very back of the room. Yes, just set that down a bit, and then I will walk through the whole demonstration and then introduce one more time for today's demonstration to you. So today we are going to use these two presses, and Mr. Chung will travel a lot in this aisle throughout the demonstration. And before we start the demonstration again, may I introduce you Mr. Chung-ch, our studio master of Hong Kong Open Printshop. He is an established calligrapher, a painter, and a printmaker. But he don't think himself as a printmaker, although he works a lot on intaglio and woodblock printing. He would like to invite you all to enjoy today's demonstration as a process of a painting rather than a print. So this method he came up by himself because he enjoyed Chinese calligraphy. As you all know, during the process, it's very important for us to express our emotion or record something throughout the brush stroke. But when you work on woodblock print, the image or the characters you are going to print is somehow mirrored. Is mirrored. So how could he enjoy calligraphy and printmaking at the same time? So that's how he thinks about the demonstration today, or the method that he's going to use today. For the woodblock, he wrote it directly on it and then carved the Chinese characters on it as well. So he worked on the block in a positive way, the way that how we read the Chinese characters. So you can come over here to see the woodblock. This was made by, not made, he wrote it directly on the woodblock and then carve away the negative space. Yes, so this is the way how you read the Chinese characters.
What kind of wood? What kind of wood?
This is plywood.
Plywood.
Yeah, very,
Just plywood.
yeah, just plywood, yes. So this
So
is...
you read it, which way do you read it?
This way.
This-
So like this one, this is the moon,
Yeah.
Chinese character
Yeah.
moon.
Yeah.
Yes. And he used a very, very thin kind of paper without sizing. So like
So
for
is that Japanese?
Japanese, Chinese for
yes.
calligraphy
Yeah.
or for
Yeah.
ink wash painting.
Yeah.
And then it's folded.
Yes, it's folded.
Okay.
So does it get through?
So at first, he run the carved woodblock and the paper to get an embossment. Embossing on the paper first. And in this process, the woodblock, the carved woodblock, and the Japanese paper or the Chinese paper is dry. And this process is quite important throughout the whole, this step is quite important for the whole process because it created the contour on the paper. So you can come over here to see the embossed paper. So the pressure is not enough. So you can see the paper is now embossed. So he will use another press for printing.
掃油，掃油啦，遮住下先。佢都識啦。
And he is now going to ink up the plate here. You may come over here.
黃色。
So the color he is using is normal watercolor.
Does he wet the wood before he apply ink?
Yes, yes.
啊，唔使好濕，因為佢自己慢慢滲水。如果唔濕塊板咧，好結咧會黏住。呢一
Okay. So I just wet the woodblock, but not too wet, because if you work on it in a dry condition, the ink will become very sticky.
即係如果好黐咪就好似啲咁咯，所以要開氣嘅啲顏色通常。
And the watercolor as well, he used water to dilute it a bit, because you can see from the tube it is quite sticky, which is not good for printing.
So that dark color looks more like purple than black. The dark one?
The dark one? Purple.
Purple.
It is purple, okay.
That's what it looks like.
He used it for the gradation of the that print.
Linden plywood.
Yes.
Is that a linden tree?
Linden, thank you.
It's very cheap and easy to get in Hong Kong, and the quality is good for this kind of printing, for water-based woodblock print. This is the first layer of the red painting that you can see on the wall. It's a very subtle layer of yellow.
因為張氈太細，
張氈太咩話？
太細啊，攝不來。即係解釋俾你聽，有張氈太細先至，如果大氈就唔會。
So he just said that the felt is too small.
應該要闊到呢個位就已經冇。
所以咩話？
闊到呢個位佢唔會跌落去咯，跟住個
所以佢唔理想啦，
啱唔緊要，係當係咁啦。
But that's fine for him. Actually, you can use the same press, but if you're going to use the same press, the second step you're going to add another woodblock, right? So you have to.
So you always need 2 presses.
Yeah. So not really. You can adjust it. Work it on slowly, and then just pressure out from time to time.
你起佢啦。
So this is the positive image, the way how we read the Chinese characters.
Yeah.
好，跟住印第二色啦，擠翻落去。
So he's going to print the second layer, which is the red.
OK。
And he registered the paper by filling the contour of the woodblock and register with the image. Just
Yeah. So as opposed to registration is such a just it's free.
Very much. But where's the reverse one? This is. That's the reverse.
印一次黑色咪搞掂咯，單版。
咩啊？
印一次單版嚟，做完一次再問一問。
哦，而家再問。
唔係做完呢個就再問。
再問有冇問題啊？
係啊，跟住如果再問最多咪印次黑色單色咪得咯。
哦，好。
係咪咁講啊？
係絲化同唔化啊嘛，係嘛？
即係印黑色上化咯，係。
哦，好。
鴛鴦色咧係。
鴛鴦色。
黑板係嘛？
好。好。
咁就應該差唔多時間㗎啩。
係。
印完呢個叫佢問問題先。
哦，印完呢個先嘛。
梗係啦，而家。唔緊要啦。
So if you have any questions,
I'm trying to remember. Then he got. How did he get the mirror image then?
the mirror image, unfolding the paper.
Folding the paper. So you.
冇 image，我哋冇調轉咗。
Yes. Yes. He printed with a folded piece of paper. So after he print, he
Oh,
unfolded.
that's how it goes to the
Yes.
second. Okay, that's the folding.
Yes. And you can see this on the black and white one.
Yeah.
the sheet of paper while he's inking that is to,
on there is to keep it wet and newsprint.
to keep it from drying out.
係咪保持佢濕定係？
係濕係啊，
Yes, to keep the moisture.
因為唔 keep 住濕咧，個煙味柱乾咗得快咧，天氣乾得快，呢個天氣好乾啊，
係
嗰會縮細咗，嗰個煙味柱變咗形。
So because the humidity here is quite dry, if the paper dries up too quickly, the image will shrink a bit. So he has to keep the paper wet to print the same size of the letter. Yeah, the paper is wet from the first layer of yellow. So just from the paper, not from the paper, it's from the ink.
仔歪咗，由得佢噶啦。
邊個歪咗？
我唔係你可以係，我講俾你聽，仔歪咗就由得佢啊，冇乜熟。
邊個歪咗？
吸上吸得唔正啊！
So he said he just
唔可以再拎上嚟啊！
The
歪咗少
red,
少。
the woodblock, but it's fine.
because you after you put the ink plate down, do not pick it up right away.
Not really.
就咁啦。個相機問你中意邊張咯？兩張係
So he asked which one you like more, the first one or the second one? The second one? Yeah, the second one. Let me ask you. 鐘哥，你中意第二張？
我都知啊，唔使叫問。
哦，義工。
Yellow, where it doesn't, is actually nice, you know, where it's not area, it's one and not just
He likes to ask for photos here rather than tell you.
À, 唔得㗎，因為佢去 watercolor 全部平翻晒嘅。我都係中意第二張啊。 係一般都唔印啦，係嘛？有冇人新人？有冇人新人嚟先？
咩啊？
有冇新人再新人？
冇啦，
冇仲可以解釋個 rainbow 咯，係嘛？係咪？
好，你係咪過嚟解釋啊？可以過嚟解釋個 rainbow 啊？
係啊，跟住咧，跟住
就寫咯
寫咩啊？
你
寫
係咪唔係諗咗一句嘢咩？
咩夏威夷啊？
係啊。
夏威夷咩？都唔記得咗添。咁就完啦，好冇？係。哦，咁啊，我咪咁啊，好係。
使乜移開啲嘢？你想？
唔係啊，唔係講咗先嘅咩？
哦，好啊。
問咗先嘅咩？解釋咗先。
好啊，你解釋啦。
呢個
係。
呢個彩虹啊嘛，咁彩虹咪嚟嗰日咪見到我，即係行到上去，跟住天同浪即係跟住出現咗彩虹咁，所以如果唔係就印黑色嘅張，即係試印一張黑色呢個咯。
For this print, it's actually a record of his journey to Hawaii. Because on the day of our arrival, he went up to the mountain and he saw a double rainbow. So he decided to print it in a gradation of the rainbow as a record.
冇擠上去住，即係。
好。
So this is the cursive style of the Chinese character here.
Sorry, can I?
Here.
So what?
That means nothing or emptiness.
Oh, that's the one.
唔係，下一個。
Sorry.
This is.
Yeah, this one. Nothing or emptiness. If I come closer to have a look, it's going to how much idea? It's going to write something on the print.
寫行書啦，咁啊唔係得寫完寫書。
行書啊嘛？
係。
好。He's going to write in a running style. A kind of Chinese calligraphy style.
Or watercolor is okay. Watercolor, water-based color.
But he's using the same color. 咁咧係咪即係話當一張中國畫咁去做，所以中國畫會提字嗰一樣嘢？
我話呢個好複雜喎，係當畫嗰個，我唔係當中，我唔會你中。
當畫
啊！
所以你就中意係寫
但
字。
唔係，係因為即係寫啲字。
嗯，而家你咁你寫咗先啦。 sentence is that I saw rainbow in Hawaii.
失蹤嗰日係幾號啊？
咩啊？
失蹤嗰日幾多號啊？
失蹤嗰日26第一日，
係廿六號啊？
係。
我冇乜所謂嘅，我真唔知喎。
He actually saw the rainbow while he was lost in the city. He's going to write down the dates that he got lost. It's the 26th. 呢個名。This is his name, and this is a 26th date.
有博人，如果係要嘅話，冇嘢唔使講。
He will chop it here if he got his chop.
跟住講，好，係好。
Will he write on these ones as well, or just let them?
你會唔會喺呢啲都會寫字㗎？
會會點解會有啲係會係導引咯，有啲寫字，有啲好似嗰張咪印嗰個信件咯，嗰張信件嚟㗎。
It depends. He'll work different thing on different prints. Sometimes he'll write. Sometimes he'll print.
乜嘢都得嘅，睇情嘅。
Like a letterhead, the green layer you saw on that print.
即係有陣時呢邊印埋咁咪成張咯，唔印埋就單張咯，細張呢個應該睇需要。
It really depends on how the image comes out. Sometimes he'll just trim it down like that one. He'll only keep the positive part. Sometimes he will keep the mirrored part as well. It depends on the image, and he work on it.
佢講咩俾我聽，應該咁講。
Oh, he will communicate with the print, and then he believes that the print will communicate with him as well to tell him what to do next or to keep which part or not.
How long he's been doing calligraphy? How many years?
幾多年啊？寫咗書法，
哇！我讀書寫㗎咯喎，
中學
50年都有㗎咯喎，就係咁啊！真係。
4 to 50 years. Yeah, when he was before it.
應該咁講，點解要寫字真係好重要？因為如果嗰啲叫乜？如果係 image，咁咪直接好似印咪得咯，就唔使一個要吸模啊嘛。我哋唔要吸上去嘅，係字就最有效嘅一個方法。因為即係呢啲字啊，因為呢啲全部字啊嘛。咁如果圖像咧，咁冇咁唔使咁繁複，要加塊板上去，就乜嘢顏色咪得咯。
So this method is especially designed for printing Chinese characters because you like to write or create the woodblock in a positive way and get the way how to read the Chinese character as well. So it works on specially invented this method, I can say, for the Chinese character printing. For the graphics or other kind of image, you may use the traditional kind of printing method.
仲有咩問
？Any questions?
Do you have any trouble making like thin line or, for example, or something smaller letters maybe, because you have to emboss the paper first? Yeah.
細字會唔會好難做 embossing 或者用到呢個方法？
得，細字都得嘅，因為你挑心時嗰張紙。即係你要揾一隻啱嘅厚啲嘅紙就好啲嘅，即係呢啲都有厚薄噶嘛，厚薄嘅厚少少啲紙就因為壓咗佢唔會咁快彈咗上嚟嘅，emboss 咗佢唔會咁快上嚟。
So it works on very fine lines as well. So you have to choose a thicker paper. Yeah, they have different weights. Yeah, but with the same kind of paper as well. After you emboss, it will not bounce very quickly. So you keep it in the woodblock. So when you print, it will bounce back and attach the ink on the second
我就係中意，我中意咁嘅嘛。你問我中意咁嘅。
你中意咁，即係中意佢化或者
唔
中意
係
佢？
我唔知個結果嗰啲。
哦，he likes the unexpectation he get throughout the process. Thank you. 睇下先，應該仲講咗好多嘢可以講。咁印唔印埋個黑色啊？仲有4。
可以問佢哋睇唔睇嗰樣。
So would you like to see a final demonstration of imprinting with black ink yes. Oh, okay. He's ready. Okay, come over here. 化啲，會化啲啊嘛，係咪？
整呢個啊嘛係啦，整
係啦，好。
個毛喺邊？
喺呢
唔係
度。呢個
印完
毛字
咗，
嗰塊板係毛字嗰塊
拎
板。
印完咗唔拎，
The Woodblock for the
可能
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So for this print, he's going to add more water into the ink to see how it comes out. And you can see, although he is using the same woodblock over and over again, he can achieve different kind of image or style by applying different types of or different layers of color, and also to control the consistency of the water or the balance with the ink. So he treats it the whole process or this method to create, is creating monoprints.
OK。如果唔我噴濕佢而家。
噴濕張紙。
Yeah.
So he will spray the paper here.
上去
You
化
wax。the paper because he would like the ink to spread more. So it really depends on what you need. If you want the Chinese character or the print to be more concrete, the image, you don't wax the paper. But this time we would like to try another presentation or what the outcome would be by this method. So we try to spray the paper to see what we can get.
可以唔使機嘅。如果你自己濕咗咁樣壓就已經變㗎啦。
可以唔使
即係而家咁啊。
You can skip embossing using the press. You can just hand emboss after you wet the paper. It depends on your need.
It's okay. 石擺板。Yeah.
Because this block is relatively small, we can work on this press. The maximum we prefer to use on that press. Because you can see we actually put a pile of acrylic block aside and so that yes. 唔使咁大力嘅兩塊板，第二次硬唔好咁大，唔使咁大力嘅。冇嘢。唔使呢度印完手，我攞墨汁過嚟印唔使。 That was for adjusting the pressure.
Oh, just test it,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. He would like to use the same press because it's relatively small to the block. He used the second press because that block is relatively large. Okay. So you can come over to see how the ink. Not calligraphy, but to ink up the plate. But this time we are going to print an image which is more watery. So you can see the plate is more wet than the tool we were using. And we wet the paper as well this time.
冇 press 咁樣都得嘅。
冇 press。
即係如果你咁洗白板係。
If the woodblock is wet enough, you don't have to go through the press and then you can still achieve.
咁細張。
For the small prints, you don't have to run through the press. You still can get the print. 因為呢啲水。
係因為細張，嗰一平佢唔突咗嚟就可以嘅。即係有 emboss 咗咧，一定要。
So for the print small like this, you can hand print it.
Oh. 拎走佢。冇用得㗎啦，係 OK 喎。Be careful 冇啦，冇咩想講，佢有咩想問？
So that's all for today's demonstration. Thank you all for coming. Thank you. And we have a leaflet that introduce Hong Kong Open Printshop. We put it here, and then you can grab one. And we have our contact, so you can go online to see more of our past events. Or we are going to have a highlight of our trip to Hawaii IMC Hawaii. And feel free to ask us any questions. Thank you. Right. 如果你最後將好濕嘅版過 press 會點啊？哦。